Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hello. I'm a shiny hunter and collector attempting my very first Let's Play with Pokemon Violet. If you missed part 1, you can check it out here in the cards. Thank you so much to everyone who voted on my poll. The overall winning pathway was Herba Mystica and the Path of Legends, so that's what I'm doing today. Let's go. I've opened up the full map and caught a good amount of Pokemon so far, which I'll upload in a different video about completing the Pokédex. I decided to start with the Titan in the desert, which is different in each game, looking at the trailers. You can see my starter has evolved into her final form here, and I quite like the design. I honestly didn't mind her becoming bipedal as long as the design was good, so I felt quite relieved, and I'm a huge fan of the grass and dark type pairing, so Meowscarada has got a thumbs up from me. You'll notice only my starter has a nickname, which is something I tend to do in most of the Pokemon games, unless I have lots of really good ideas. I used to nickname all of my team when I was a kid, but because I tried not to repeat the same names, I ran out of ideas and then I just stopped. So here you can see the Titan rolling around the desert. Because I'm playing Violet, my Titan is Iron Treads, which looks like a futuristic Donphan. I believe the Scarlet version is called Great Tusk, and at this stage of the game, I don't know what it is or why it's here. If it were a Donphan evolution, it would be next to it in the Pokédex, which it isn't, and it's not a regional form because it's got 2 variants with new names. But I'm sure the game will explain more as I progress further into the story. The battle with the Titans reminds me of the Nobles in Legends Arceus, and you'll see I don't really have too much difficulty with it. My team at the moment consists of Meowscarada, Oinkologne, Pawmo, Clodsire, Tadbulb, and Frigibax. Try saying that all in one go. That wasn't my first attempt, as you might guess from the elaborated enunciation. Also, does anyone else think Frigibax sounds like the name of an antibacterial cleaner? Because I don't have any gym badges, the higher level Pokemon I catch don't listen. The ones that are at the same level now that I caught at a lower level do listen to me. So Oinkologne that I caught as a Lechonk at like level 3, that listens to me. Frigibax, which I caught at like level 38, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm actually enjoying using Oinkologne and Clodsire. The other 3 I was carrying around at this point to try and evolve. Pawmo I might keep on the team, I'm not too sure yet. It looks like it might have a third stage and second evolution, looking at the Pokédex, but I'm not sure how to do it. Don't tell me. I'll figure it out. Future me here, I did not figure it out. At least, not without the aid of Google, and it's a good thing I did. Otherwise, I don't think I would have evolved it, or the few others that use the same method. Good old Game Freak making us work for our evolutions, instead of making it logical. I think my sarcasm's showing. Back to past me. Arven shows up and he joins me in battling Iron Treads for a second time, after it's eaten some of the Herba Mystica. I don't think I really needed him for this one, but we soon make short work of it. Arven and I enter the cave and find exactly what he wants, some of that Herba Mystica from his Little Violet book. He mentions the mysterious him before we tuck into some sandwiches, and Miraidon decides it's hungry too. This is clearly someone that Arven cares about, and could be a person or a Pokemon, and I'm certain we'll find out before we collect all 5 herbs. Miraidon is hankering for some of my sandwich, and I decide to share, even though Arven isn't too happy about it. Whatever, it's my sandwich. Miraidon chows down and seems to regain some power, including the ability to glide. I'll be honest, I don't like gliding as a mechanic. I just want to be able to fly properly, like take off from the ground, fly to a height I want to for as long as I want to, and then land. I don't like climbing to a high level, gliding for a little bit, and then dropping back to the land. Like, what's that all about? Sort it out. Don't like it. With Iron Treads tackled, we make our way to the next Titan at the top of this hill. We do get hit by a boulder, but no damage is done before we enter battle with Bombardier. As you can see, this really doesn't take long, and again, I wouldn't have needed Arven. At this rate, he definitely needs me more than I need him. We enter another cave and find another Herba Mystica, this time of the bitter variety. Arven again references someone who he wants to eat the herb, and Miraidon senses another sandwich. We share again, and we're given the ability to surf, which is something I've been looking forward to. It looks like the Herba Mystica has a flavour which corresponds to the flavours we've seen in one form or another since Generation 3. Salty, bitter, sweet, and whatever the other two are. I can't remember. I'm guessing this means each Titan will have a different flavour herb for some reason, yet to be revealed. Arven finally lets us in on his mystery. He has a very injured Mabostiff which hasn't recovered from some ordeal. The violet book he swiped from Professor Turo's lab mentions the herbs can aid in recovery, so his aim to track down the herbs now makes sense. I'd imagine in Scarlet he has a red book that he has acquired from Professor Sada, and I'm guessing she's his mum in the other game, seeing as Turo is his dad in Violet. So far we know that that book contains valuable information about the Herba Mysticas, and my guess is that it won't stop there. These Titans aren't really posing a challenge, and I suspect this is largely down to the level of my Pokémon. If I'd attempted these at a much lower level, I'd possibly struggle more, although I do have a decent type advantage, so on the other hand, maybe not. Who knows? If I play Scarlet, I'll be playing it in a different way to this game, so I guess I'll see when I play the other version. Two Titans down, and I hunt out the Stony Cliff Titan Cloth for number 3. This area is a little bit of a maze, so it took me a while to find it, but eventually we get there. But not before battling a few Pokemon and collecting a few items. I choose to Terrestrialize Minnie to increase her grass power, and Cloth runs away after just one hit. Arven appears from nowhere and sends out Shelder of all things, but one Terrestrialized Flower Trick takes Cloth out. Because eating Herba Mystica turns Pokemon into Titans, it does make me wonder whether we'll find more of it after the game, so in the crater or something like that, and whether we'll be able to turn our own Pokemon into Titans. I thought maybe you might be able to catch the Titans like you could with the Alphas in Legends, where they were visibly bigger, but it looks like I am not quite right with that one. Another cave brings another Herba Mystica, and with it more sandwiches for Miraidon and Mabostiff. I have a feeling that Miraidon would take my sandwich regardless if I said yes or not, and I'm rewarded with the ability to dash across the land. Dashing also gives you the ability to quite literally barge into trees and knock down any Pokemon that might be hiding in the branches, like Bounsweet or Applin, which is definitely going to make it easier to catch them. Mabostiff lets out a small woof, which moves Arven to tears, and he asks us to confirm if he truly heard a woof. I'm not heartless, so I agree with him, and Mabostiff is looking like he's improving. I'm curious as to how he became so injured in the first place, and I wonder if Arven will eventually tell us what happened. And we head off to the next Titan, the Lurking Steel Titan, Earthworm. This battle took a little longer because of misses, and because I couldn't remember what types Steel was weak to other than Fire and Ground. Future me again. Steel types are also weak to Fighting type moves, which I probably wouldn't have guessed. I also realised I don't know what Steel is strong against either, so I've just looked that up. Fairy, Ice and Rock. I tend to use the same few types, so even though Gen 2 and the introduction of Steel and Dark happened so long ago that I should know, I don't. And don't even get me started on Fairy, other than it being strong against Dragon. Maybe it's a good thing they have classes in this game, because I really could do with going back to Pokeschool. Back to the game, and I'll try and keep my own interruptions and tangents to a minimum. Oinkologne comes in clutch though with its headbutt, and we chase the worm through some mines. This time, Arven shows up with a Toadstool. Much like Wiglet, this is effectively a rehashed Tentacool, and I can't say I'm a fan of it. When I first saw it on my map, I thought it might have been a regional form rather than, I guess you could call it a reimagining. And yes, the evolutions of Wiglet and Toadstool are called exactly what you think they'd be. I think I'd prefer regional Pokemon over whatever this is, but it did make me laugh in a what the hell is that kind of way. Toadstool doesn't appear to be very much help at all, meaning Arven leaves me to carry the battle. Again. Cheers, mate. Earthworm to me looks like it should have an evolution, but I'm not 100% that it will have one. It's probably just a standalone, but I could be wrong. The Titan is defeated, and Oikalon is rightly very proud of himself. I'm finding Oikalon is a really valuable member of the team, and I'm a little jealous that my partner actually caught a shiny Oikalon. That's his first shiny that he's found in the game, and I really want one and I can't find one. I can't complain though, because at the time of recording this audio and editing this video, I have found 3. That's right, 3. So, like I said, I can't complain really. I just wish one of them was one I really wanted. Because you can't please people all the time. This cave grants us a Salty Herba Mystica for our Pokemon, and Miraidon gains the ability to jump even higher than it could before. Jumping is going to be a useful mechanic, as I've tried jumping to things that are ever so slightly out of reach, even if I try gliding with it, and I just keep falling short of it, so I am very welcome to actually be able to jump to things now. The last Titan is the False Dragon. This was actually my 3rd visit here, because I thought maybe you had to do it last or wait for specific weather conditions, because Arven tells you nobody's seen it. So I was thinking it might have been a Gudra or something in the I was going to say in the snow then, in the rain, something like that. Because I couldn't figure it out, my partner told me, and I'm a little gutted because when I was recording, my footage stopped before I could finish it because I'd used up all the room on my laptop. Yes, every single bit of it. So at the time of writing this script, I haven't decided if I want to get to the same point on another file for the footage or just skip it. Like, my completionist self is really battling with that because I don't want an incomplete video, but then that's a lot of effort to get back to the same point, and I don't know if I've got the time for that. So I don't know what to do. Future me again. Since it's taken me so long to make these videos, I've reluctantly decided to leave it here and not try to reach the same point. So this footage you're seeing will end somewhat abruptly, but on a side note, how on earth do people do Vlogmas each year? Like, where do they get the time? I don't get it. Back to past me. We enter battle with Dondozo, which, as my partner put it, looks like it should be an evolution of Wishcash. He's not wrong. But with Mini being the grass type, it doesn't present too much of a problem, and it actually took me longer to find it after it ran away than the battle, so yeah, really didn't have a problem with that. We enter the second battle with Arven and we quickly defeat it. We go to enter the cave and suddenly we're jumped by Tatsugiri, another false dragon titan. This is where Arven could have been of more use, and I'm so annoyed I ran out of file space because I wasn't expecting 2 false dragon titans. From memory, Mini is knocked out and I end up losing all my team members whilst chipping away at Tatsugiri's HP. Arven's Greedent is knocked out too, and that's the only thing he's got, so he was useless. And I get to my last Pokemon Primeape when I decide to restore Mini's health to full, and that takes me to win the battle. We enter the cave for the final Herba Mystica. Miraidon can now finally climb vertical surfaces, which is an ability I've wanted for ages because I'm sick of sliding down cliff edges. My boss Diff brings his favourite ball to Arven, and we take a phone call from the professor. It turns out he wants us to go to his lab at the lighthouse at the very beginning of the game, if you remember, which is locked, but Arven can unlock it. And we find out the professor needs our help. Arven isn't so keen to help him because he doesn't have a great relationship with his dad. It looks like the professor neglected him in favour of his research, and Arven isn't keen to help him, and my boss Diff was more of a father figure for him. We're told we need to travel to Area Zero in the Great Crater after finding a violet book, and that turns out to be the very one that Arven already has. Arven wishes to engage us in battle before we head over to the crater to see if he's ready. You've seen my Pokemon are in the early 40s, and his were a good 20 levels above that, so I got my ass handed to me. Luckily, the professor will wait for us until we're ready. With this in mind, I've decided to tackle the other pathways, so I might do a Team Star base and then a gym to see if I want to do one or the other first, or I might do them in tandem with each other. I haven't decided. So from here, as you can see, I am significantly stronger than when I first tried facing Arven, and that's because I have now completed the Victory Road Challenge at the time of editing and recording. Arven wasn't really that difficult because, as you can see, my starter is very, very over-leveled, and some of that is also down to using my starter to level up Pokemon to get the Pokédex. And you probably saw before this fight, my little Pokédex snippet said I had 352 Pokemon, and that's now higher. I think I've only got the Pokemon left that you can catch in and around the Great Crater, which is quite cool. So we beat my boss Diff, we beat Arven, and he now says to go to Area Zero, we're going to need somebody with champion skills or crazy tech skills. And for some reason, he recommends Penny. And so far, my only experience with Penny is stopping her from getting bullied at the beginning of the game. So I'm guessing something might crop up during the Starfall Street element of the game that shows off some tech skills or something. I guess we'll see. I'm now champion level, but that's for another video. Yet. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It doesn't cost you anything and it really helps the channel out. And thank you so much to everyone who has been watching, commenting and subscribing. Thanks so much to everyone who has been watching, commenting and subscribing. It really means a lot to me, and I'd love it if you'd consider subscribing for future content if you haven't already. It doesn't cost you anything, and thanks so much to everyone who has been watching, commenting and subscribing. It really means a lot to me, and I'd love it if you consider subscribing for future content if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!